Hi guys, the DUP are playing games again. So back when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, they kept banging on about Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol and begged the Prime Minister at the time to trigger it. Johnson played along somewhat by promising to use the mechanism if he thought that the EU were not respecting the rules of trade, as Northern Ireland is still part of the single market when it comes to goods. Now, I had said at the time I highly doubt Johnson would trigger Article 16 for two reasons. First, it doesn't suspend the protocol, only part of it. And second, he would need a pretty good reason to do so. And because the DUP are upset, isn't good enough. Now we have this.
Unionist parties will pull the Stormont Brake for the first time in an attempt to stop new EU rules on packaging and labelling of chemicals from applying here. So John, just first of all, remind us, what is the Stormont Brake and how significant is this development?
Well, our Brexit deal means that we're effectively still inside the EU single market for goods. Under the original version of the deal, that meant any relevant EU laws would pretty much automatically apply here. The Windsor Framework changed that a bit. It gave Stormont more of a say, certain mechanisms in there, and one of them is the Stormont Brake. And the way it works is basically if you have 30 MLAs from at least two parties who see a new or updated EU rule which they think is going to cause difficulties here, they then pull the brake. That basically means they say to the UK government, this is a problem, you need to delay this, you need to talk to the EU, you need to sort this out. That process has now started. The DUP have led a process where they've got the 30 signatures. The brake will be pulled early in the new year, and then the ball is in the court of the UK government. They have to decide whether this really is a problem and whether they will start a rather convoluted process of negotiation with the EU about trying to sort it out.
Anything from the other parties yet?
We've only heard from the UK government this evening. They say they haven't been formally notified about this, but once they are, they will start that legal process of assessing whether this process is being done properly. It is worth though saying that there is a committee of MLAs at Stormont, and their job is to assess relevant EU laws. They've actually looked at this one, which the DUP is concerned about. They've not actually been able to reach a conclusion on whether it does cause significant problems for Northern Ireland. That could feed into the UK government thinking. But we're at a very early stage of this. This is the first time this has been done, and this is a process which is going to roll on well into the new year.
Wonderful. just when we thought things were going well in Northern Ireland, now we have this. So something that he didn't mention is, look, the DUP, it seems, have the number of MLAs necessary to pull the brake, but now it goes to the Secretary of State. Now the Secretary of State will have to decide whether this is a legitimate issue or not. Now, if the Secretary of State decides it is something to be concerned about, the Joint Committee will re-meet. The Joint Committee is a make-up of the European Commission and the UK government. And these two sides will come together. They will discuss this new legislation or how it's going to impact Northern Ireland. And they will decide whether to go ahead with this or not. Now, it's not a guarantee that the Secretary of State will respond in a positive way to the DUP. And it's not a guarantee that the Joint Committee will respond in a positive way either. So the DUP are sort of chancing their arm here. Now, I don't know what will happen because this has never happened before, but I'm more inclined to think that it will come to nothing because you're talking about labelling. It's not something really important. No, it's not like stopping a huge amount of trade or anything like that. So this could be the DUP chancing their arm on something light to test the waters, to see, okay, how will the British government respond? Will the Joint Committee meet once again over something like this? And if it fails, they may try the same thing again in the future, but maybe with something more important, more severe that could impact trade. But it's time wasting. This is not about a concern that they have. This is about them testing the waters, I believe. Seeing, okay, let's try with something simple. If it's rejected, okay, we can try again with something more important. But the problem with the DUP as well, if they keep trying this too often, the British government will realise this and they'll just shut it down. So they say, yeah, you can pull the brake as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it will be the Secretary of State that will decide whether this goes to the next step. So once again, we don't know exactly all the details here. As was pointed out, this committee of MLAs will, their thinking will lead into what the British government is thinking, and it's possible that the British government will say, look, there's nothing really to see here, you just need to go along with it. And this is at a time when the UK government wants to have a good relationship with the European Union. They don't want to have the Commission come over to London or wherever, or for them to go to Brussels to bring the Joint Committee together once again. They don't want to be wasting time. They want to have a good relationship. They want to move on with more important things than labelling in Northern Ireland. But we'll have to wait and see. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.